If you go to Zimbabwe today, you want to cry when you see how black people in Zimbabwe are living.
Once the breadbasket of Africa is now facing a severe food crisis. Yep, the same country that used to export food to the whole region is now relying on international aid just to survive. How did we get here? What went wrong? And more importantly, what's being done to fix it? Stick around, because this is a story of drought, disaster, and resilient. Let's rewind a bit. Back in the 1980s and 90s, Zimbabwe was the king of farming in Africa. Think of it as the Lionel Messi of agriculture. Consistently delivering. Always on top, the country had rich soils, a perfect climate, and well-managed commercial farms that produced everything from maize to wheat to tobacco. Zimbabwe was feeding not just its own people, but exporting food to neighboring countries like Zambia, Mozambique, and even South Africa. Fast forward to today? Hunger, drought, and a struggling economy. What happened? Well, grab some popcorn, if you can afford it, because this is where the drama begins.
Who caused all this mayhem? That is the true legacy of Robert Mugabe, a tyrant who began as a liberation fighter.
One of the biggest turning points was land reform in the early 2000s. The government, under President Robert Mugabe, took land from white commercial farmers and redistributed it. Now, on paper, this sounded great, giving land back to the people. But in practice, chaos. Many of the new farmers lacked the resources or skills to maintain production at previous levels. Farm output dropped faster than Wi-Fi during load shedding. Then came hyperinflation, bad governance, and economic collapse. By the 2010s, Zimbabwe was no longer feeding Africa. It couldn't even feed itself. Now, as if that wasn't enough, Zimbabwe is battling another major challenge: climate change. The 2023-2024 season was hit by an El Niño-induced drought, wiping out crops and killing livestock. More than 7.6 million Zimbabweans, that's half the country, are food insecure. Imagine going to the store, but instead of choosing what to eat, you're choosing whether to eat. International aid agencies like the World Food Programme, WFP, and the Japanese government have stepped in, providing emergency food relief.
The Japanese government launched a 3-month feeding program valued at $2.8 million.
Over 57,000 villagers are receiving food aid for the next 3 months. But let's be real, this is just a band-aid on a deep wound. Meet Angela Gotor, a mother from the drought-stricken Madiangov communal area in Masvingo province. Her daily struggle: finding enough food to feed her children.
Patanga tisati tapiwa chikafu vanhu tanga takurarama tichidya kamwe chete pazuva.
Imagine waking up every morning with one goal: scrounging for food. She sits under a hot tent, waiting for her ration of grain, legumes, and vegetable oil. The only thing keeping her family from starvation. Village head Friedi Hapazari calls the food aid an early Christmas present. But here's the catch: Christmas presents are supposed to be extra, not essential for survival.
I'm so impressed that the delivery is so efficient, organized, systematic, and transparent.
The Japan WFP Lean Season Food Assistance Program will run until the end of March.
President Emerson Mnangagwa declared the drought a national disaster in April. But declarations don't fill stomachs. The Zimbabwean government, in partnership with the WFP, is scrambling to distribute aid, with the UN Food Agency targeting 1 million people. Minister of Public Service July Moyo reassures people that no one will die of hunger. But let's be honest, without long-term solutions, Zimbabwe will keep needing international rescue missions. The real question is, can Zimbabwe rise again? Some experts believe the answer is yes, but only if the country invests in climate-smart agriculture. Think drought-resistant crops, irrigation systems, and better farming practices. Barbara Clemens, WFP's country director, says Zimbabwe must move beyond emergency food aid and focus on building resilience. That means social protection systems, climate risk insurance, and sustainable farming. But here's the catch. WFP needs $201 million to tackle the current crisis and has only received $50 million so far. So, even international aid is struggling. So, what can be done? Zimbabwe needs a mix of good governance, investment in farming, and international support. It also needs to learn from its past mistakes. Land reform without skills and resources is like giving someone a Formula One car without driving lessons. For now, Zimbabwe is in survival mode. But if the right steps are taken, this country could once again be the breadbasket of Africa. The only question is, will the government, farmers, and international community work together to make it happen? Let us know in the comments. Do you think Zimbabwe can bounce back? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Until next time, stay informed and stay curious.